I've never worked off of anything but commission. So being in the industry, I mean, I've seen people that have worked for salary, and I feel, I'm gonna say they don't have as much fuel in the pit. I mean, every month, as they said, we started earlier, you start fresh. So you know every month you've got to start fresh and you've got to build that paycheck. Whereas salary, it kind of lets you sit back a bit, and I guess maybe not, personally I would feel it doesn't take it as seriously. Where commission is, you're trying to hold gross, you're trying to really help the business as well. So I think.
So are there any ways that you think it needs to change going forward?
I think continuing the commission, obviously, the way it is, as we were talking earlier, you were saying how the Equinox is basically going down in gross, yet they haven't upped the front end on it. So I mean, in that sense too, there's got to be some sort of bonus throughout it as well. I mean, volume bonus sometimes are unobtainable when you're from a small city. So there's got to be other values that you can put into the table, which doesn't even have to be just money itself. There can be other values that you put onto the table as well.
And I think it really depends sometimes too, if I can just add to that, you know, where you are, where you're located, what the dealership is, because I can tell you firsthand that I'm positive that my dealership in Sault Ste. Marie, which has a population of 60,000 people, where we base our salaries off of gross profit, because we have a bit of a captive audience where it's a little more cutthroat when you're in more of a major center and you have 5 different dealerships and within a stone throw that are selling the same exact brand that you are. I think that pay structures may just have to be flexible to where you are as well sometimes too.
What do you think, Justin?
I mean, as a counterpoint to Paul, I've worked in the scenario where Paul was. We actually worked together, and now I'm at a place where there is a base salary and then volume bonuses, and I think one of the biggest add-ons that I can take away from other pay plans that I've been a part of is, in order to see kind of more successful deals as a whole for the dealership, also providing some type of incentives for the accessories department, for the finance department. Quite frankly, if I have skin in the game, I'm going to be much more invested in where that deal goes after it leaves my desk. Unfortunately, that's just the truth of the beast, right? Having worked in both, but to Paul's point about commission versus salary, there's a level of security having that salary, you're right. So there isn't necessarily I don't want to say there's a lack of fire at the beginning of every month, but there is, I would say it actually mellows out the anxiety of being back at zero a little bit, because at the end of the day, your expenses are at least going to be taken care of for the month. And then everything else after that, you're really pushing for your gravy on top of that. So,
do you think the customer obviously can feed off that as well? They can tell you don't have that same anxiety, that same, we've all been there where we've been in a slump maybe for a little bit, right? Yep. And it makes it that much harder to sell the next car. But when you're ticking along, everything just goes so much easier. It's almost the same thing where you're not, if you don't have that worry maybe in the back of your mind, like, you're able to relax more, and there's no, for sure a lot of the customers can perceive that as well. Yeah, it makes them feel more comfortable
that
also.
Kind of reek of desperation that we get sometimes, exactly. Right?
So, no, for sure.
No, and I mean, kidding yourself if you don't think that I've used that as a closing tool before too. Oh, I'm not commission based. It's not about trying to get you there, right?
So, every time.
Whatever we can do. So.